Good morning. We begin our time together this morning with a song, Gather the Spirit by Jim Scott. Please make sure your microphone is muted and sing along enthusiastically as we welcome in this beautiful spring Easter morning. Welcome. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Gwinnett. My name is Jan Taddeo. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and it is my great joy and indeed a great privilege to serve our faith as the minister of this congregation. I am so glad we can all be together here this morning in any way possible. If you have a chalice you want to light or a candle you want to light in a few minutes, please have it ready. We arrive from many places and many life experiences as we gather to recall our true selves, reflect on the meaning of our lives, and explore questions of ultimacy together. We are people who are new to Unitarian Universalism and people who are lifelong Unitarian Universalists. We are people of many religious beliefs and spiritual practices. We affirm and promote the responsible search for truth and meaning. We are people of many genders, sexualities, ethnicities, origins, ages, shapes, sizes, and expressions of our true selves. We affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of all people. We are people of all ages and family structures, and we each bring gifts, talents, and passions that serve to affirm and promote communities with peace, liberty, and justice for all. We are people of covenant who engage with one another in ways that promote and affirm justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. We are people who care deeply for our planet and understand we are inextricably and profoundly connected with the web of all existence. We are people who welcome all who are seeking a community of faith that welcomes your whole self, all that you were, all that you are, all that you yearn to be, And you are just where you should be, in a room full of compassionate, thoughtful, Unitarian Universalists ready to meet you where you are. You are welcome here. You are home. And if you are a newcomer this morning, we hope that you will indeed find your spiritual home here with us. Welcome. We are becoming a radically welcoming sanctuary in a green space. We foster spiritual growth as we joyfully nurture connections and community within our walls and beyond. If this is your first time here, I encourage you to join us several times to experience the full flavor of this congregation and this faith tradition. Come and be curious, courageous, and compassionate with us. And now let us take a big, deep breath and bring all of ourselves into this precious time we've set aside. And keep breathing. As I ring our bell, may the sound and vibrations of this bell permeate our mind, our body, our spirit. May it remind us how deeply and profoundly we are connected with all of life, with every human being, every creature, every plant, every wave, and every grain of sand. We are one with all the cosmos, a holy oneness. So I'm repeating a ritual that I did the last time we gathered, sadly. Since 2012, we have offered a ritual for mass shootings that claim the lives of people going about their daily activities in places where people have some expectations of safety. House of worship, a school, the workplace, a shopping center, dining establishment, entertainment center, so forth. We say their names and drop a glass stone into this container to honor the life of each person taken far too soon. There's been a lot of killings by guns in the last year, record numbers. We can't begin to name them all. This morning we paused to honor the lives of the 10 people killed on March 21st in Boulder, Colorado, and the 4 people killed in Orange, California on March 31st. Please bear witness as I say their names. In Boulder, Colorado, Denny Stong, age 20. Nevin Stanisic, age 23. Ricky Olds, age 25. Trelona Bartkowiak, age 49. Eric Tolley, age 51. Suzanne Fountain, age 59. Terry Leaker, age 61. Kevin Mahoney, age 61. Lynn Murray, age 62. Jody Waters, age 65. In Orange, California, Matthew Farias, age 9. Genevieve Rigoza, age 28. Louis Tovar, age 50. Letitia Salas, age unknown. Amen. Our call to worship comes to us this morning from Tess Baumberger, and it's a responsive reading. Please respond after each phrase with the words, "We travel this road together," and Gabby will put those in the chat. We travel this road together. From the busyness of every day, we gather once a week to remember who we are, dream of who we might become. We travel this road together. As companions on this journey, we share the milestones we meet along the way. Individual moments of joy and sorrow become shared moments of comfort and celebration. We travel this road together. We share this journey across differences of belief and opinion because we value diversity and because we care for one another. We travel this road together. Today, as we take the next steps, let us notice our fellow travelers, the burdens that they carry, the songs that inspire their hearts. We travel this road together. As we gather in beloved community, let us open the holy havens of our hearts. Let us share the sacred places of our souls, for we are pilgrims who share a common path. We travel this road together. And now if you have your chalice or candle ready to light, we will light our chalice. Words from W.H. Auden. There we go. Defenseless under the night, our world in stupor lies, yet dotted everywhere, ironic points of light flash out wherever the just exchange their messages. May I, compose like them of eros and of dust, beleaguered by the same negation and despair, show an affirming flame. And now it's time for our wonder box. Are you wondering what's in the wonder box? I know what's in the wonder box. Here we go. Oh, well, seems like an appropriate item for Easter Sunday. There are some eggs in here, and they make a sound. Many of you probably received an egg like one of these. They have Velcro on either end so they can stick together. And there's a little light inside. You pull out the tab and it lights up. And you save the tab so you can turn it off later. So we have eggs. If we were in the building together, maybe you'd all find an egg under your chair. Next year, I am confident we will be doing that. And I probably said that last Easter. But I'm pretty sure this time. Well, eggs. Humans all start with an egg inside a womb. Sometimes inside a test tube, but they get transplanted to a womb. We can be very, very fragile when we're in the womb, when we're born, when we get old. And we can be fragile in between our whole life, fragile emotionally, physically. We fall and we get up again. We are always changing as we grow, both on the outside and on the inside. with the right conditions, we can become our true selves. And here's a story about becoming one's true self. The story is called After the Fall, How Humpty Dumpty Got Back Up Again. And this story really relies on the images to be fully understood. So this is where you want to be watching carefully. My name is Humpty Dumpty. This was my favorite spot, high up on the wall. I know it's an odd place for an egg to be, but I loved being close to the birds. Then one day I fell. I'm sort of famous for that part. Folks called it the Great Fall, which sounds a little grand. It was just an accident, but it changed my life. Fortunately, all the king's men managed to put me together again. Well, most of me. There were some parts that couldn't be healed with bandages and glue. After that day, I became afraid of heights. I was so scared that it kept me from enjoying some of my favorite things, like those really great cereals on the top shelf of the store. I walked past the wall every day, and I would think about climbing that ladder again. I really miss the birds and being high above the city, but I could never do it because I knew that accidents can happen. I eventually settled for watching the birds from the ground. It wasn't the same, but it was better than nothing. Then one day, an idea flew by. Making planes was harder than I thought. It was easy to get cuts and scratches. But day after day, I kept trying and trying until I got it just right. My plane was perfect, and it flew like nothing could stop it. I hadn't felt that happy in a long time. It wasn't the same as being up in the sky with the birds, but it was close enough. Unfortunately, accidents happen. They always do. I almost walked away again, but then I thought about all the time I'd spent working on my plane and all the other things I'd missed. I decided I was going to climb that wall and get my plane back from the other side. But the higher I got, the more nervous I felt. I didn't want to admit it, but I was terrified. I didn't look up. I didn't look down. I just kept climbing, one step at a time, until I was no longer afraid. Maybe now you won't think of me as that egg who was famous for falling. Hopefully, you'll remember me as the egg who got back up. And learned how to fly.
Who I am today will not be who I am tomorrow, and who I am tomorrow will keep changing every day. And all the things I learned might fill my heart with joy or sorrow, and everything I learned might make me want to change my ways. Oh, there is nothing, no thing that ever stays the same. That is the one thing that life does guarantee. life will take, and no one knows what I will see as I keep becoming me. The family you were raised in does not dictate who you marry, and the country you were born in won't decide where you are buried, and all you once believed might leave you stranded on an island where the only way back home is to abandon it as lies, and there is nothing, no thing that ever stays the same. That is the one thing that life does guarantee. There is no one on earth, no one who knows where their lives will lead, what path their life will take, and no one knows what I will see as I keep becoming me, becoming me. I must stay open to the change, curious and free, and always ready to be rearranged. There is nothing that ever stays the same. That is the one thing that life does guarantee. There is no one on earth, no one who knows what course their life will take, and no one knows who I will be as I keep becoming me, as I keep becoming me, as I keep becoming me, as I keep becoming.
Some of you know that I had a pretty rough time in my teen years and my early young adult years. A lot of challenges, a lot of difficulties, a lot of confusion, a lot of behaviors that were pretty self-destructive. It was in 1984 that I met Russ, and my family thanked him for straightening me out, which he didn't really do. I was ready to be straightened out. I was ready to get my act together, and he was the supportive presence and the person who gave me encouragement and space to become me. So I'm very grateful for him in my life, for sure. We are always becoming. Every moment we are taking in new things and having new experiences, and it's no straight path to becoming. So many people start out early in their life like, I'm gonna go out and be this and do that and have these things or these accomplishments or whatever, and life takes us on a crooked path and we never quite know where we're going to land. That's a possibility for all of us. And as I had said earlier, all life starts with a seed, an egg, DNA, something that determines so much about us. Each of us and every life, every being is unique. Every flower is unique, every tree, every dog, cat, whale, every human being, every blade of grass. They're all unique. And yet we were so much alike and so connected at that deep DNA stardust level. It's pretty exciting. We are a bouquet of people, a bouquet of life. And until the rose opens, I have some unopened roses here. Until the rose opens, we don't know what that rose will quite look like. We might have a sense of what color it will be, but we won't know what shade necessarily or what shape. And it's a miracle every single time a flower opens. And yet it's also fully explainable. And that's okay. Miracles can be like that. We know how they happen, and they still feel so miraculous. Every time a baby's born, we call that a miracle. All of these experiences in our life, all these things that happen to us, even our ancestry, all of this shapes us. If you go to Leah Morris's website, this is Leah, you'll find that video. And at the end of it, she gives a very brief explanation of how that song came to be and what inspired it. And in there, she says this phrase, "The foot feels the foot when it touches the ground." The foot feels the foot when it touches the ground. It feels like a Zen koan to contemplate for a bit, but I get it. I also think it correlates with an idea that I've worked with for 20 years now, that we can always choose a new way of understanding our experiences, or even in the moment, understanding our judgments, seeing our reactions and noticing them and choosing how we're going to react, choosing the story we're going to tell about what's happening in the moment. And we also get to choose that for our past, that what happened to us might have a very different story. An example some of you have heard is that when I was a teenager, I ended up leaving my home voluntarily and unexpectedly several times. We would call that running away, I guess. And I thought there were just no adults in my life that were holding me, that were providing a safety net. I felt pretty abandoned because of circumstances in my family. And then when I was over 40, I had the amazing epiphany through meeting a woman named Mimi, whose sons were in the youth program where I was the youth minister, and finding out that she was on the staff at the runaway house I went to when I was young. And I just had this huge opening up of a whole new story, that instead of no one there for me, and so darn it, I'm going to be there for youth because no adults were there for me, I started to see the entire network of adults, my grandparents, my parents, my siblings, my neighbors. There were teachers, there were so many people who were working so hard to hold me and keep me from completely being lost. And that changed my whole story. Now my story is about giving back to all of those who helped me to get here. And that's a big shift in a story, but it can be a little shift like, oh, this task I'm doing, I hate it, I don't want to do it, why did I say I would take this on? To, wow, this is really important work and it will benefit people, and I'm the person who knows how to do this, and maybe I'm called to do this and be here now. Things like that. We can change a lot of stories quickly in our own mind. Who we are changes, or can change. We can get stuck. Who we are changes every day. Every new experience, every new person we encounter. Maybe our growth has been a little stunted this year because we haven't encountered a lot of new people, but I'm sure we are still continuing to learn and grow every day as we pay attention, paying attention to our biases, our judgments, our assumptions, our stories. We keep growing as we learn ourselves better. So becoming human, for me, is really about becoming humane. How do we develop empathy and compassion, kindness, awareness, our moral compass? These are so important to being a humane human being. Religious community does a lot of this. In our congregations, we recognize that we are very complex. Humans are so multifaceted. We have so many parts of who we are. We have our emotional selves, our sexual selves, our curious selves, our imaginative selves, our judgmental selves, our capable selves, our incapable selves. We have all of these things and parts of us. We can be forward thinking. We hope, we plan, we reflect back, we contemplate. We're pretty unique in the world in this way. Our religious community is one of the primary places that holds us through this exploration, holds us through the development of these various facets of our lives. The other primary place that holds us in this is family. And families have various levels of training in doing that and helping their children to build empathy and compassion. And schools are another primary place for our young people and even our universities to learn how to see the world as a larger place and see themselves in it and their place in it, and to learn how to be empathetic and compassionate. And probably a lot of our schools could do that better too. And probably a lot of our religious communities could do it better. I think about the man who shot the people here in Atlanta a few weeks ago, and the religious community he was a part of that has now disowned him and shunned him. And yet he believes, I think, from what I've read, that it was that community that shaped his ideas, that shaped this idea that his sexual self was evil, this idea that he could take this matter into his own hands and destroy that evil that was outside of him because he didn't feel like it was in him. I don't know. It's complex, but that's the things I contemplate about that situation. How do our religious communities hold us? Well, I think we're bound together. We're bound together with shared values and shared vision, that we offer redemption and resurrection from our falls and our failures by holding one another through them and recognizing that these are human qualities, human traits, the human experience. And how can we bring people back in and help them to wrestle with whatever challenges they're facing so that they can feel loved and they can hold compassion for others? How do we make sure that our circle is wide enough, the circle of love, the circle of God's love, the circle of our love is wide enough to hold everyone? I think it's important, and I know I've said this before, because it's so important just to continue to keep our hearts in a holy place, to look within us and see how our reactions and our judgments and our biases and our assumptions are shaping how well we hold the circle of love, how well we create the radical welcome, how well we encourage spiritual growth and allow for the wide range of ways people understand the world and the divine and themselves. In the words of Margaret Williams Braxton, we keep our heart in a holy place. She says, someday we shall become. May it be so. I got a lot of flowers over here. You can't see them right now, but you saw them earlier and you'll see them again in a moment. The flower ceremony service was created by Norbert Čapek, who founded the Unitarian Church in Czechoslovakia. He introduced this special service to that church on June 4th, 1923. For some time, he had felt the need for some symbolic ritual that would bring people more closely together. The format had to be one that would not alienate any who had forsaken other religious traditions. The traditional Christian communion service with bread and wine was unacceptable to the members of his congregation because of their strong reaction against the Catholic faith. So he turned to the native beauty of their countryside for elements of a ceremony which would be genuine to them. This simple service was the result. It was such a success that it was held yearly just before the summer recess of the church. In 1940, Dr. Chapek's wife Maha brought this ritual to our congregation in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And today, congregations engage with this ritual at a time of year that fits their growing season and their worship calendar. And I think most, if not all, you congregations are doing this, and many do it on Easter Sunday. So we know that we're sharing this with others today. Were we together in person, many of you would have brought flowers to share, and all would be invited to come forward and receive a flower and encouraged to take that flower out into the world and perhaps re-gift it to someone you might encounter on a Sunday afternoon, a server or a cashier or someone in the parking lot who maybe looks a little down that day. Today, we'll have the opportunity to share our flowers with each other at the church from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. I hope many of you will be able to stop by because it will be such a joy to see you, even with your mask on. Bring your flowers this afternoon. But for now, this morning, we celebrate the flower ceremony virtually, using the truly lovely and beautiful photos of flowers many of you shared with me, most of them still attached to plant, bush, or tree. As we drink in the beauty, let us allow these images to fill us up and renew our spirits. As the flowers bless your vision, enjoy Tchaikovsky's Waltz of the Flowers, pre-recorded by our pianist Brian Bishop, and you'll hear us in the room moving around, trading flowers. It's kind of wonderful. When the music ends, I will offer a prayer, Bouquet of People, by Reverend Claire Feingold Thorin, written in the style of the Reverend Max Coots. Enjoy. Let us give thanks for a bouquet of people. We give thanks for children. Like tulips and iris, they multiply around us, making the world ever more filled with color, beauty, and new life. May we bless them as they replant themselves ever further from us, knowing that they need their own space to grow into. We give thanks for generous friends, as constant in bloom as echinacea, and whose gifts lift up our body and spirit. We give thanks for feisty friends, as indomitable as geraniums, and for continuous friends who, like bittersweet and ivy, hold on and never let go, and can never be gotten rid of. For crotchety friends, as prickly as rose bushes, their beauty a secret that is only discovered through careful gardening. For surprising friends who at first glance seem dour and then blossom into joy as quickly as forsythia. For funny friends, silly as snapdragons, and serious friends, complex as gems. For comfortable friends, their gentle presence as soothing as the sweet smell of lilacs. For stormy weather friends who stand by us in hard times, like lily of the valley that cannot be deterred by shade or shadow. For old friends nodding like sunflowers in the evening time, and young friends coming on fast as flocks. For friends as unpretentious as dogwood, as persistent as pachysandra, as steadfast as azalea, and who, like snowdrops, can be counted on to see you through the winter and remind you that spring always comes. For loving friends who wind around us like wisteria and embrace us, despite our blights, wilts, and witherings. And finally, for forget-me-not friends, gone but never forgotten. Their beauty lives on in our memories and hearts. For this bouquet of people who brighten our lives, each in their own way, we give thanks. Amen. I invite you to continue sharing beauty in the world. Perhaps posting on social media a daily photo or a weekly photo of natural beauty you've discovered in your yard, neighborhood, or a local park. Allow this flower ceremony to inspire you to make the world more beautiful. And please stop by this afternoon to share a flower and receive a flower. And even if you don't have a flower to share, come and receive one. We'll have plenty. And perhaps then you might share a flower with someone who may need a touch of beauty in their lives today. And now I offer a prayer for our journey of becoming, written by the Reverend Thomas Rhodes, called Walking the Crooked Path. Holy Spirit of life and love, our source and our ultimate destiny, lead us today on a crooked path. So often we are in so much of a hurry, taking the direct route to our goal, not allowing ourselves to be directed, sometimes being too direct with one another in all that we seek to do, to be, and to have. But we can see that no river takes a direct path to the sea. Your trees and bushes sprout crooked limbs, and birds, beasts, and insects meander in their search for food, shelter, or a mate. We lose so much when we take the direct route. The interstate which bypasses the quaint township, the arrow that misses the mark, the chance to stop and say hello, and how are you? And really listen to the reply. So lead us on the crooked path, past wandering streams and crooked trees, following our heart's desire, not just duty's demands. For the crooked path also leads us home. May it be so. Amen. And we respond to this prayer singing, I Know This Rose Will Open, by Mary Gregolia.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will turn away. I know my soul will
Our congregation is committed to creating a more compassionate world, and to this end, each quarter we split our plate collection with an organization nominated by the people in our congregation and selected by our Give Away the Plate committee. I don't yet have the results of how much we raised last quarter for Beyond Ribbon, but I'll let you know when I find out. It may be on our website. Today, I introduce our second quarter plate recipient, nominated by Peggy Averett, Path Project, a Gwinnett-based organization that operates community centers inside mobile home parks where children experience the love of Christ through education and positive relationships. At their community centers, they offer programs that are designed using research-based best practices and are led by certified teachers and youth development specialists who serve alongside incredible volunteers. Through partnerships with park owners, schools, businesses, church, parents, and other nonprofits, they're able to offer on-site programs. Our plate contributions also support the shared ministry of this congregation. So I ask that you please give generously to support the work of this important ministry in our local community, as well as the vision and mission of this congregation. As we listen to a recording of our pianist Brian Bishop playing To a Wild Rose by Edward McDowell, you will see on the screen ways to contribute to our offering via PayPal, Venmo, or by mailing a check payable to UUCG to the address shown. If you are worshiping with us for the first time, please know that your presence here today with us is a great gift to this congregation, and you may choose to let the offering will now be most gratefully received. May the generous gifts received this week move us toward realizing our vision of a more connected and compassionate world. I want to take a moment to offer gratitude. Yesterday was our work day to work on our parking lot island. It was my intention to get out there, but my day took a crooked path. So I don't yet know how many people came out or how much work got done, but I am grateful for all who did come out and did that work. And I look forward to that being completed because it will make our entrance just look so much better. Also grateful for Bill Benshoff for running the religious exploration program this morning. Also to Bill and Mary Jane Stout, who continue to hold the space for our Courageous Coffee House every Thursday evening. It's just fabulous that they hold that space, and they are open to your feedback on what you would most like to have happen in that time. So please let them know. Many thanks to Gabby Meduro-Salvari for managing the Zoom room, and to Russ Taddeo for running video and sound, and to all of you who sent photos of flowers for our service today and who will bring flowers and receive flowers this afternoon. And to all those who are taking part in our food drive, which you can bring food during when you bring your flowers or pick up your flowers. Now is the time for our call to connection. To stay strong and vital as a community, we need to seek ways to connect between Sundays. If you are new to our congregation, I invite you to text welcoming to the number on the screen to receive more information about our congregation and ways to connect. I invite you to also sign up for our weekly e-news so that you can see the most current information about what's happening in the congregation, and to look at our Facebook page for more information as well, and our website. And there is a register for events button where we try to list things that are coming up so that you can choose how you want to participate. And it also helps us to know how many people might show up to events. So that would be great if you can use that. And our starting point program is an introduction to the Unitarian Universalist journey that's designed for people who are new to Unitarian Universalism, new to our congregation, or who've been with us for a long time and want an opportunity to fall in love with their congregation and Unitarian Universalism all over again. And we'll have sign-ups for this next program. It's a small group design, and it's 4 sessions. This time we've been doing it with an hour. We're looking at what we need to tweak there. Maybe we need an hour and a half for each session. And we'll be opening up a new registration for that later in April. If you want to see past services, we have a YouTube channel where you can see services after we've had them. They get posted within usually a few days after the service. And again, just a reminder, in case you didn't hear it already, we're having a flower exchange at church today from 2 to 4. And if you are really need everybody to try and come on April 18th to our town hall meeting following the service. We now have a reconvening task force. That's Deb Millett, Rob Cole, and Suyan Soloway. And they will be seeking some input on their process and your ideas and your concerns, your hopes. But they'll also be looking at science and CDC recommendations and things like that. But we're really thinking that we're going to be able to reconvene soon. Probably not by June like we'd hope, but maybe in some small ways before we can all be together again. Also, our nominating committee is looking for leaders for our Board of Trustees and our nominating committee, and come and learn more about what that means. It's really a great way to serve our congregation and to serve our vision. So I hope that you can join us for that. And we have some big questions, open questions that the board wants to discuss with people, and get your input on those too. So come to our town hall meeting. There'll be time for you to share your questions and find out about things too. Our monthly reflection is updated. We'll have a website link up soon for you to offer your thoughts on this question. Our vision: we are a radically welcoming sanctuary in a green space. We foster spiritual growth as we joyfully nurture connections and community within our walls and beyond. And the questions are, in what ways are we living into our vision, and what more can we do to grow into this vision? And this is the communication team asking these questions so that we get a better sense of what really draws people to our congregation, what makes this a place that you've committed to, so that we can help to share that message in the wider world and invite more people to come and experience this life-saving faith. And we have faith development resources for all ages. You can use that link. It's also on our website, and you'll go to a fabulous collection of resources for wherever you are on your journey. So check that out, please. Christiana's done a fabulous job of curating that. Elementary religious exploration takes place on Sundays at 12:30, but not today because we're off for Easter. If you do have elementary age school children, please register them for our religious exploration program so you can participate as you're able. Can't get in without registration. This is a security feature for us. They meet on Zoom at 12:30 every Sunday except the second Sunday when there are at-home activities provided. Adult religious exploration happens at 10 a.m. every morning, where we have a small group conversation or activity around our monthly theme. This month is Becoming. And this week, a few things I want to lift up for ways to connect. Our Yarns from the Heart meets on the first and third Wednesdays, so join us this Wednesday morning at 10 for if you're a crafter, crocheter, yarner, quilter, embroiderer, whatever. If you work with fiber, come and join us. And also this week is the Women's Spirituality Group. They're working through Rise Up and Call Her Name, a wonderful, wonderful curriculum. And that's on second Fridays. So this Friday at 7 o'clock, please join us for that. And Belief Exploration happens on second Sundays, and exploring all kinds of things about our sources, the source of all of our beliefs. So join us after the service next Sunday for that. Other ways to connect, the following Monday on the 12th, the Gwinnett Understanding Secular Truths will be meeting. Our Covenant Choir is gathering every Tuesday. We're starting to see a few more people show up. It's really great. And we're working on more virtual videos. One is in the can now that will be showing on the 18th. So excited about that. I mentioned Courageous Coffee House and Yarns and Women's Spirituality, Belief Exploration, and every Sunday at 5 o'clock, Exploring Tarot with Sherry. So join us for that. Order coffee, cocoa, or chocolate, Equal Exchange products by texting equal to that number, and we'll contact you to find out what you want to order and make arrangement for delivery and payment. So thank you very much for continuing to support our Equal Exchange sales. Our 40 to 40 campaign for our 40th anniversary is going well, and if you could, we're asking everyone to contribute $40 to the endowment fund to help us build for the future. And if for your contribution, you'll receive a mug. If you don't want the mug, we'll put it in the kitchen and use it for our coffee hour when we return again. We've raised so far $1,690 in checks. We don't have the Venmo and PayPal totals yet, but we'll have them this week. And the calculation is that if everybody gave $40, we'd have over $5,000 if every member and friend gave. So it's okay to give more for those who aren't able to give that much. I gave enough for 4 people. So see what you can do to help us reach a really high number and really beef up our endowment fund. It has worked really well for us. We got a loan to upgrade our septic system, and we're looking at some other possibilities for how the endowment fund can help us with our reconvening. So don't know how that looks like or anything, but there's possibilities there. Please rise in spirit as we say together the words we say as we extinguish our chalice, followed by our closing song, you guessed it, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place by Joyce Poley. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
When our heart
We close with these words from Margaret Williams called Someday. Once upon a time I was, now I am. Someday I will become. Once there was, and now there is. Soon there will be, and someday there surely shall be. Once upon a time we were, now we are, and someday, hallelujah, we shall surely become. Amen. Amen. Our service has ended, and now our service to one another and our wider communities begins.